recently we've been discussing sutras that provide the mechanism for many of the substitutions that will be enjoined in the grammar. Shashtisthana yoga, Shashtisthana yoga. As you know, what I can consider an astonishingly powerful and ubiquitous, you could say, concept. That what's in Shashti is joined to the words tane and is bound to be substituted for. And we talked about iko gunafrati and the sense that ikaha is equivalent to saying ikahastane, and it is the ik which will be substituted for by the guna order for ti. We also noted that just saying ikahastane guna syat doesn't completely nail it down, since there's more than one guna and more than one sound in ik, iurluk. Then we had the follow-up sutra, Shashti Sthana Yoga Sthanentra Tamaha. Sthanentra Tamaha. The one that is closest to the one being substituted for will come. Now, there is a little bit back and forth in commentary exactly how to understand sthane in that sutra, but it's good enough for our purposes. Which brings me to this topic of my self-definition as being a student of the grammar and clearly not a scholar of the grammar. And that comes into play in what I'm going to say next, because we're going to be talking about a different entity than we have before, paribhasha. Paribhasha. Now, we've talked about paribhasha sutras as sutras that give conventions. However, this is not a sutra. It's just a convention. And my teacher gave it to me as a paribhasha. However, I don't know how. I think it's unclear where these came from sometimes and how they fit in. I have seen it occur, this phrase that we're calling a paribhasha, in Bhattoji Dikshita's commentary to Sthanentra Tamaha. So neither here nor there. And that's what I like about being a student and not a scholar, because I can I can go with what I'm interested in and what feels relevant to me. And as you know, what drives me is the operation of the grammar. And things that are, we could say fine points, are less, well, they could interest me just because they're interesting. Anyway, we'll stick with paribhasha. So this is yatra nekavitam antaryam tatrasthanata antaryam baliyaha. Yatra nekam vitam antaryam tatrasthanata antaryam baliyaha. Now this is a very helpful convention. What is it saying? Well, yatra nekavidam antaryam. So where there is more than one option, we'll say, or more than one kind of nearness is a better way of saying it. When there's more than one kind of nearness or different kinds of nearness, anekavitam antaryam, not a single form of nearness, you could say, yatra nekavitam antaryam. When there's more than one form of nearness, tatrastanataha antaryam baliyaha. The one that is related to position or place is the strongest. When there are different kinds of nearness, the nearness from place of articulation place is the strongest. Baliyaha. So this comes into play fairly frequently, and as we step into Sandhi Sutras, we'll see how this can come in different ways. Now, there are described 4 kinds of nearness are described. Sthana, we can say place. And this would be, for instance, if we have Rama and Atra, Ramatra, Rama and Atra, Ramatra. So if the options A and A are the nearest by virtue of place, and as we know from our studies, Akuhav Sarjaniyanam Kantaha, Akuhav Sarjaniyanam Kantaha. See how nice it is to have that available? Then there's Artha, meaning. Artha, meaning. So if there's a replacement that's ekavachana, then, or something being replaced that's ekavachana, then the ekavachana replacement should come. So that makes sense. Then there's one of quantity, pramana. So if a dirgha ach is being replaced, then the replacement should, other things being equal, be a dirgha ach. And finally, guna. Now, we've talked about this in the past. So, for instance, if the stanin is maha pranaha, then the adesha should be maha pranaha. So, that's the overview of the different kinds of nearness that are available. And in general, it may be specified or it may be obvious, or from time to time, it takes some working out what sort of nearness is there. But if there's a conflict, we now know yatra nekavitam antaryam tatrastanata antaryam baliyaha. If there's more than one kind of nearness in play, then the nearness of place is the strongest.